Hey fam, I'm back with another quick broadcast because I got something real important that I want to talk to y'all about. Hopefully, it's not too late, but this is real important, and I want to talk to y'all about this, especially you people in Georgia, in Atlanta, in Fulton County, anywhere around that county that can vote. Um, you definitely need to show up tomorrow in droves to vote locally. And although we're not doing any kind of federal voting, you know, we're not voting for anybody federally because nobody's offering us any tangibles, and we are going to keep the power of our vote until somebody is offering something tangible, something worthwhile that we can exchange for when it comes to local and state elections. And as far as voting, things like district attorney, things like folks on the city council, that kind of stuff, then you need to investigate the people that are running. You understand what I'm saying? Whether they be Republican or whether they be Democrat or whatever, you need to investigate them and see if they're offering anything tangible specifically for black folks. You need to see if they're doing anything specific for the black community in your area. And the reason why I want to talk to this is because this has garnered national attention, and this, pertains to everything that we're going through now as far as the protests are concerned, everything that has happened since the death of George Floyd, since his death was the last straw that broke the camel's back. As you know, DA Fulton County District Attorney Paul Howard is up for re-election. And Paul Howard is the one who brought the charges against the police officer, that Garrett Rolfe guy who shot Rayshard Brooks 2 times in the back when he was running away. And he's up for re-election. And they are pulling out all the stops. You know, they are throwing everything at him, including the kitchen sink, to try to get rid of him because he had the audacity to charge these two police officers. And he charged one of them, of course, with felony murder. So they are throwing everything at him. They are doing everything that they can to get rid of him. They are doing everything they can to get him out. They have talking about launching all kind of ethics investigations, talking about criminal probes and all of this kind of stuff. They are just doing everything that they can to get rid of him. The attorney for this Garrett Rolfe, the guy who the one who shot him 2 times in the back, who shot Rayshard Brooks 2 times in the back. He's gone to court, and he wants Paul Howard off the case. He wants the whole Fulton County DA's office off the case. He talking about Paul Howard has systematically sought to deprive Garrett Rolfe of a fair trial and impartial jury since the day he announced his decision to arrest Garrett Rolfe. So, it's all about how dare this black man, how dare this nigga have the audacity to actually charge a white police officer. You know, and of course they're saying that the shooting was justified, and this whole 9 yards. But so yeah, and Ruff's attorney's name is Noah Pines. So just remember that. Just remember his name is Noah Pines. And they are throwing everything that they can at this brother. They're doing everything that they can to try to get rid of him. He's received all kind of death threats. There have been all kind of racist comments. Yes, there have been death threats against him. For those of you in Atlanta, around that Georgia area, or know anybody in Atlanta, in Fulton County, around that area, this not only does this brother need your support tomorrow, because tomorrow is the day, is the day that you vote, August the 11th, tomorrow. Not only does he need your support tomorrow, but he also needs, a little extra protection. If he's going to go through with, making sure that this race soldier is actually brought to justice, because they're doing everything that they can to keep this guy from ever facing trial. Okay, so just know that it's very, very important for those in this Atlanta Fulton County area to get there and go out, turn out in droves to vote for this man. Fulton County District Attorney Paul Howard. And if you can't vote for him, and if you can't get there to vote, then donate. And I'll have his website information linked in the description box, because this is somebody who's really about the black community. This is somebody who's really about seeing justice done and seeing justice served for the black community. He's not one of these coons. He's not one of these black collaborators. He's not one of these bootlicks. The man knew that he would be putting not only his career, but that he would also be putting his life on the line by charging these two police officers. He knew that. But he knew it was the right thing to do. He knew it was the only thing to do. So he needs all the support that he can get, whether it be your votes or whether it be financial. He needs all the support that he can get, because they're pulling out, like I said, they're pulling out all the stops to get rid of him. And the only reason why is simply because, like I said, he had the audacity to charge these two police officers with the murder of Rayshard Brooks. Okay? Now, he's going through the same thing that...
Well, LMPD reports there is no body camera video.
He's going through the same thing that Judge... let me get his name right. Judge Olu Stevens. Judge Olu Stevens, he's the one that released Kenneth Walker from jail on house arrest. And he's a black judge. And after he did that, all of a sudden everybody raising up. They want him off the bar. They trying to find all kinds of reasons to get rid of him. He received all kind of death threats and all of this kind of stuff. And also that black judge, Eric Moyer, in Dallas, who put that white woman that owned that hair salon, who locked her up for 7 days because she kept violating the order, and they had cease and desist orders and all this, and she was just determined that she was going to do what she wanted to do. So he locked her up for 7 days, and he received all kind of death threats and folks just trying to get rid of him. So every time somebody black in these positions, whether it be a DA or whether it be a judge or whether it be an attorney or whatever, every time they do something according to the law, every time they do something right against somebody white, they always receive this type of backlash. And then all of a sudden everybody want to try to throw things at them and try to get rid of them and try to in some cases there have been cases where they have actually been killed. Years ago, there have been cases where these folks have actually been killed when they take these actions, especially against police officers or anybody in law enforcement or anybody that's in upper level government or anything like that. So Paul Howard definitely needs as much help and as much support as he can get. Because we need to see this Garrett Rolfe. We need to see him tried. We need to see him convicted. And we need to see him sentenced for shooting this brother in his back. This brother was running away from him. He shot him twice in his back. And if you go back and you look at the video, all the video that Howard released during the stills that he released during the press conference when he first announced the charges, if you go back, you'll see that the other police officer kicked him after he had been shot while he was laying there bleeding to death or whatever. The other one jumped up on his shoulders or something like that. So this stuff definitely, he definitely needs our support, because these people definitely need to know that this is not going to stand. That we're not going to keep just being murdered in the street and these police officers just allowed to walk away from it without being held accountable, without any kind of punishment. So Howard definitely needs all of our support. Yes, I have donated. I don't live in Georgia, so I can't vote. But yes, I have donated to his campaign. And again, like I said, I will leave that information in the description box so you can go and donate. And if you live in Georgia, if you live in Fulton County, please turn out for this. And I'm going to tell you why. Now we're going to get to his running mate. I mean his opponent, the person who is running against him, right? And hold on, let me maximize this. And I'm on her website. And it is Fani Willis, Fani, Fani Willis, for Fulton County District Attorney. And again, the runoff election date is tomorrow, August the 11th, 2020. And the early voting began July the 20th. But so there's still time. They say he's kind of running behind in the polls right now. So black folks, you really need to get out and you need to vote for this dude. If you don't vote for anybody else, you need to get out and you need to vote for him so that we can ensure not only vote for him, but again, support him and protect him so that we can ensure that these police officers are held accountable, criminally held accountable for the murder of Rayshard Brooks. Okay. But if you go on her website, that homepage, will give you a little information about her, and it says about Fani, and then it says make a donation and all of that. But what I want you to go to on this website, and it will be listed in the description box, and you'll see a picture of it, a screenshot of it in the video. What I want you to go to, what I want you to see is go under endorsements, and you'll see community activists and political leaders. You click that. And it'll show you who some of the main folks that she's endorsed by. And as you'll see, there's the GABWA, which is Georgia Association of Black Women Attorneys. Then you see Vote Pro-Choice. And then right there in the middle, you see International Brotherhood of Police Officers. Right? So yes, here's another black woman. Here's another black Tammy the Mammy, who is being endorsed by the police unions. Remember when we found out about Tammy the Mammy after, she put on this whole show and this whole bit in the courtroom with Amber Geiger, with all of that hugging and reading the Bible and all of this kind of stuff. And we dug into Tammy the Mammy's background and we found out that she had been endorsed by the police. She had been endorsed by the police unions. And we understood that that was part of the reason why she was so lenient and why she was putting out this picture of leniency and forgiveness and all of this kind of stuff in this courtroom, along with Botham Jean's coon-ass brother. But remember, Tammy the Mammy was all linked up with this international, with the police unions. Remember, Renee Hall. Renee Hall and Tammy the Mammy, both of them were Boulay. They were sorority sisters. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Renee Hall was also endorsed by these police unions. Renee Hall is the Fort Worth chief of police. And she was also clicked in and all of that, and she was endorsed by these police unions. Well, here is another black woman and she's running against Paul Howard. So if she wins, she will be the new Fulton County District Attorney. And she's being endorsed by the police unions. And we know that there's no police union anywhere that feels like any police officer should be criminally charged with anything that they do. That's the reason why all the ones that we see doing all of this killing and all of this murdering black folks in the streets and all of that, when you look into their backgrounds, you find that all of them have this long history of excessive force and violence and all kind of complaints against them and all of this kind of stuff. Some of them have been sued. Some of them have lawsuits against them and all of that, but they're still on the force. Why? Because the police unions want to keep them there. The police unions are full of white supremacists, and they want to keep them there. They want to keep those violent ones there, those who use excessive force, those who target black people and target the black community and use excessive force against black folks and have been involved in all kind of shootings and all of this kind of stuff against black folks. The police unions want to keep them there. So they don't think that there's anything that a police officer can do, especially not against a black person, that justifies that police officer being charged or being arrested or even being sued criminally. Civilly. Now they really can't control them being sued civilly, but they send in all of their lawyers and they send in all of their attorneys and all of this kind of stuff to cover these police officers as officers and protect them, because they want to keep those violent psychopaths who target black people and target the black community. They want to keep them right there on the force doing, like I said, what law enforcement was created by white supremacy to do. And that is police black folks by any means necessary. Whether it takes violence, whether it takes beatings, whether it takes excessive force, whether it takes murdering, whether it takes lynching them or whatever, by any means necessary to police the black population. That's what law enforcement was created for by white supremacy. So just know this Fani Willis woman is in cahoots with the police unions. She's being endorsed. She's being supported by the police unions. So if she gets in there and she wins against Paul Howard, do you think that Garrett Rolfe, or whatever his name is, do you think for 1 minute that he's going to really make it to trial? Do you think for 1 minute that if she wins, this Fani Willis, who is being endorsed and being supported by the police unions, do you think for 1 minute that if she wins against Paul Howard, that this Garrett Rolfe and the other police officer, I think his name was Devin something, do you think either one of them will ever make it to trial? Do you think we'll ever see any real justice when it comes to the murder of Rayshard Brooks? And this is who Paul Howard is running against. And it's right here on her website as big as day that this is who is endorsing her. She actually has their logo up as one of her main endorsers. International Brotherhood of Police Officers. Okay? And it goes on down to list some other folks that have endorsed her. White folks, black folks, whatever. But the most important is that she's being endorsed. She's being supported by, she's being endorsed by the police. So if she's being endorsed by the police, if the police are endorsing her, the police are supporting her, the police are there to uphold her bid for district attorney, do you think for 1 minute that she's gonna go against these police that are endorsing her and start charging police officers and holding the police officers accountable for their crimes? If she mess around and Fulton County, you need to realize, if she messes around and gets in there and replaces Paul Howard, then it'll be open season again on black folks in Fulton County. It'll be open season again on black folks in Fulton County. That's what you need to understand. So if you don't vote for anything else or anybody else, you need to make it your business to be there tomorrow to vote for Paul Howard. Because her allegiance is in the wrong place. Her allegiance is already over there with police officers. So she'll be like another Kamala Harris, who anything that the police officers did was all right. Even when she knew the police officers were wrong. Even when she was being told by the federal government and by other judges that certain police officers had been involved in things and they needed to be gotten rid of and all of that kind of stuff. She refused to do it. So you get this woman here, Fani Willis, and that's what you're going to have. You're going to have you another Kamala Harris. And it'll once again be open season on black folks, especially black men in Fulton County, in Atlanta, Georgia. But that ain't the worst of it. Now, again, like I said, they're using all of this stuff. They're using all of this stuff to throw at Paul Howard, talking about ethics and ethic violations, and they opening up criminal probes and all of this kind of stuff to see if he did anything criminally and all of this kind of stuff. But look at what this heifer got going on. Not only is she being endorsed by the police unions, but just listen to this. I want you to listen to what the community, how the community reacted to finding out that she was being endorsed by the police unions. This comes out of CBS 46.com. And this was July 16th. Community reacts to DA candidate's police union endorsement. In a few weeks, Fulton County residents will cast their vote in the district attorney runoff election. But as election day nears, some are accusing one of the candidates of crossing an ethical line when it comes to their campaign contributions. It is an inherent bias, a conflict of interest, because as we know, the police union has never seen a situation where they thought the police should be prosecuted for anything, said Richard Rose with the Atlanta chapter of the NAACP. A coalition of community leaders, pastors, nonprofits, which include the NAACP, Southern Christian Leadership Conference, and the National Bar Association, are calling on the Georgia Bar to implement change. We are sending a letter to ask the bar to impose a rule that would preclude, prevent, prohibit prosecutors and district attorneys from accepting money from the police union because, ladies and gentlemen, that's the only way we can get justice and police reform in this country, said C.K. Hoffler with the National Bar Association. The group is taking issue DA candidates accepting endorsements and donations from the police union similar to the one received by Fulton County DA candidate Fani Willis. They should not be allowed to accept monies from the police unions because the police unions are going to understandably then mandate, or in other words, dictate, and ask for them not to prosecute their members, police officers, added Hoffler. But in a previous interview, Willis told CBS 46 the endorsement would not prevent her from doing her job. Yeah, right. Make sure your viewers understand that if a police officer violates anyone, that includes African Americans, Hispanics, Asians, Hispanics, Americans, or Caucasian Americans, they're going to be held responsible, said Willis. Yeah, right. It's really, really great. It's really, really great to hear you spout that off right now. But if they have endorsed you and you have received money from them for your campaign, you're going to do exactly what they mandate that you do. You're going to do exactly what they tell you to do. And you will find every reason not to prosecute a police officer, even when you know that they have committed a crime. But that ain't enough. It ain't enough that she's being endorsed by police unions, that she's received donations by police unions. Get this. She has also received donations, a monetary donation from the attorney, Noah Pines, who is representing Garrett Roth. Roth is the police officer charged with the murder of Rayshard Brooks. Yes. Fani Willis has received donations from the very lawyer who is representing the ex-police officer charged with killing Rayshard Brooks. According to campaign contribution details, Willis also received a donation from attorney Noah Pines, who is representing former Atlanta police officer Jared Roof. Rolfe was charged with the murder of Rayshard Brooks. In response, Willis sent CBS 46 the following statement. My biggest group of supporters are criminal defense attorneys who protect the rights of their accusers. Pines is a criminal defense attorney who I have known professionally for years, and he made his first contribution to me before the date Brooks was killed. The statement went on to say, Don Samuel, the attorney for Devin Brosner, the other officer charged in the Brooks case, contributed money to Mr. Howard. So CBS checked campaign contribution document and found Pine's last donation to Willis's campaign was on June 30th, nearly 3 weeks after the Rayshard Brooks shooting, which took place on June 12th. But Willis is correct in pointing out Don Samuels didn't endorse or make contribution to Hall's. But Willis is correct in pointing out Don Samuels didn't endorse or make contribution to Paul Howard's campaign. Instead, those contributions were made on May 27th. May 27th. Now, Don Samuels is who the defense attorney for Devin Brosner. He made his contribution before the shooting took place. The shooting took place on June 12th. He made his contribution May the 27th. So that was before there was a shooting. That was before there was anything going on with this officer. But Noah Pines made his last contribution, his last donation to her campaign on June the 30th, which was almost 3 weeks after the shooting took place. The shooting took place June the 12th. So she can stop that. She can stop that they did all of this, that Noah Pines contributed to her campaign before the shooting. No, his last donation came in on June the 30th. The shooting took place June the 12th. And she knew that. So she lied in that statement. She lied in that statement because she knows what donations she received, because she has to list them. So this black woman, you understand what I'm saying? This black woman, Fani Willis, who is running for Fulton County DA to replace Paul Howard, is not only receiving donations and being endorsed by police unions, but she's also receiving donations from Garrett Rolfe's defense attorney after he became his defense attorney. Because prior to June 12th, prior to the shooting of Rayshard Brooks, he wouldn't have been his defense attorney. So if he had contributed to her campaign then, it might have not meant a whole lot. But by the time he did his last contribution, which was on June 10th, this was weeks after the shooting, and it was after he had already become the defense attorney for Garrett Rolfe. So now she's receiving money from the defense attorney of this ex-police officer who has been charged with the murder of Rayshard Brooks. What kind of conflict of interest is that? What kind of possible ethics violation is that? Especially considering the fact that they say it's a kind of close run, and that right now Paul Howard is running behind a little bit. He's running behind her in the polls a little bit. So what? Was Noah Pines padding her pockets to make sure that if she becomes the DA, she gonna look after his client, Garrett Rolfe? Now y'all just hold on a minute, because the proof is in the receipts. Hold on, don't tell me I didn't put it. Hold on, y'all, because I got the PDF. Well, I had the PDF. That's not the one I want. Here it is. It's the disclosure. Yeah, here it is. And this will also be linked in the description box, so you can go to it and see it. This was filed, e-filed 5720. It's campaign contribution disclosure report. It lists all the names and all the total amounts and everybody who has contributed to her campaign. And if you go all the way down to the P's, you'll see Noah Pines. Now, this was the date of this one. Was 03/31/2020. Monetary donation. Attorney Rawson Pines, that's the name of his thing, and he contributed $500 to her campaign. Now, this was in March. So, between March and June, you don't see any contribution from him. But then all of a sudden, June the 30th, he decides that he's going to throw in some more money, right? Now, maybe there's an updated one somewhere else that we can find. Hold on, let's go see what's going to happen here. Because this one was turned in May. This one was e-filed May the 7th. So I'm sure there's been another one that's more recent. But this one was e-filed May the 7th, and he turned and he's put that donation in March. So from March until May the 7th, when this one was e-filed, we don't see him donating anything else. But according to the article that we just read, he did a June 30th donation of, and it doesn't say the amount. It doesn't disclose the amount, but it says that he did a June. Noah Pines, the attorney for Garrett Rolfe, did another contribution on June the 30th after the shooting. So the one that we see here is months before the shooting. The last donation that they received from him, the last contribution on June the 30th, was after the shooting of Rayshard Brooks. And it was after Noah Pines had become the defense attorney for Garrett Rolfe. And I'm going to look for it to see if I can find that latest report. Let me check something. No, that's May 7th. Okay, let's see. Media ethics. Hold on, y'all. Let's see if we got something here. Campaign reports. Let's see what they're going to show us here. Campaign contribution disclosure. Okay, yeah, let's see. All right, y'all, let's see what we can get here. This one was 7/27. So this one was e-filed July 27th, 2020. Let's see what this one has to say. Let's see if we can find Pines' name on this one. There it is. There it is. June 30th, 2020. Here it is right here. June 30th, 2020. Noah Pines, 06/30/2020. Attorney Ross and Pines LLC. Primary $1,000. This time he contributed $1,000. This was on June the 30th, after, weeks after. Because the shooting took place on the 12th. So this was 18 days after the shooting. So this was almost 3 weeks after the shooting. He contributed again $1,000. $1,000. Now let me see. If there's any kind of way. You know what? I think I'm just going to screenshot this one for you. I'm going to try to save it and see if that'll work. But if not, I'm going to screenshot it so you can see it. But there it is right there. Plain as day. Noah Pines, 6/30/2020. $1,000. So by this time he has doubled his donation. Remember, the last time his contribution back in March was $500. This time his contribution is $1,000. And if you see all the other contributions on the page with him, you'll see his is in some cases 4 or 5 times what anybody else is donating. So the link that I'm going to put in the description box will be, it'll bring you to the report format option. And you can go down and click where it says view report in PDF, and it'll bring up the report that I'll have the PDF for. But you'll see that on June the 30th, Noah Pines, who is the defense attorney for Garrett Rolfe, contributed $1,000 to her campaign. So he doubled his contribution. And again, this is after the shooting. I think it's after the shooting, and I think it was after, yeah, it was after the shooting. It was definitely after the charges had been filed and he had been arrested. So I just wanted to bring y'all that information. I mean, for a minute here, I just want to talk to my black FBA sisters. Y'all gonna have to stop. Y'all gonna have to stop allowing white supremacy to use you like this. You understand what I'm saying? You're gonna have to stop being collaborators with white supremacy. I mean, look at all the black women, FBA and otherwise. But yes, there are some FBA that are just collaborating with white supremacy to keep the status quo and to keep black folks as the target. Keisha Lance Bottoms, Letitia James up in New York, Mayor Lori Lightfoot, Stacey Abrams. It's just so many, and we've got to stop. You know what I'm saying? In politics, in music, in entertainment, it's just so many, and we've got to stop. We've got to stop, because the sad part is you think that because you are willing to go along with white supremacists, you're willing to toe the line with white supremacy, you're willing to come out and stand out in front of black folks and be the black face of white supremacy and the black voice of white supremacy. You, Oprah, Gail, Susan Rice, Omarosa, you think you're safe. You think you're safe within white supremacy, without realizing that white supremacy always breaks its tools. Always. Eventually, they're going to come to get you. So, black women, y'all got to stop. Y'all got to stop. And here's another one. This Fani Willis. Here's another one. She's setting ready. She's setting ready to do whatever the police unions tell her to do, whatever white supremacy orders her to do. She's setting ready to do that. I mean, come on, talk about ethics violations. Talk about conflict of interest. You running for the office of the DA, the very DA that if you win, you gotta finish the prosecution of this case. And you taking campaign contributions from the defense attorney of the very person that you might have to prosecute. So you getting it from both sides. You getting it from the police union and you getting it from the defense attorney. And then you lied back here in this hold on, let me find it. You lied back here in this statement that you sent to CBS 46, talking, and this was on July the 16th, and the disclosure came July the 27th. So, and the contribution came June the 30th. So you knew about the contribution when you say that he made his first contribution, and he did make his first contribution before the date Brooks was killed, but he made his last contribution almost 3 weeks after Brooks was killed, after he had become Garrett Roof's attorney, and he doubled his contribution. And you knew that, but you didn't mention that. You didn't mention that. So once this man had been involved in this killing, once this man had been charged with this murder, you understand what I'm saying? And once Noah Pines became this man's attorney, what you were supposed to do, if you were going to be ethical, and if you really weren't going to be beholden to all of these people, the police unions and the defense attorney and all of that, what you should have done is you should have sent his contribution back and told him, under the circumstances, since there's a very big possibility that I could end up being the one to prosecute this case, I can't take your money. I can't take your contribution. But she didn't do that. So all you folks around that Fulton County area, around that LA area, all of y'all need to galvanize. Y'all need to get together. Y'all need to have conversations with each other. Y'all need to spread the word and share the word that y'all need to turn out in droves tomorrow to vote for Paul Howard. The re-election of Paul Howard. Because believe me, it is already being set up that if you don't and this woman gets in there, it's going to be open season on black folks in Fulton County again. Without the police having to worry about any kind of accountability, any kind of punishment, any of that. Because she's already in bed with the police unions. And not only that, it looks like she's in bed with the defense attorneys for the very man that she might end up having to prosecute. That just don't look good. That ain't good at all. So I just wanted to bring y'all this information, give y'all this rundown, let y'all know what's going on. If you know anybody in Atlanta, if you got friends, family in Atlanta, anybody in that Fulton County area, get on the telephone, call them, let them know what's going on. Share this information on your Facebook, on your social media. Have these conversations with your family, with your friends. Like I said, if you know anybody in that Atlanta area. If you know somebody that knows somebody in that Atlanta area, get this information out there. We got all night. We got for the rest of the night and in the morning. Get that information out there and keep this woman out of office, out of that district attorney prosecutor position. Keep Fani Willis out of it, because if you don't, she's already in bed with the police. She's already in bed with the police. We're looking at another Kamala Harris, another Tammy DeManning. That's what we're looking at. We're looking at another one that's going to be sympathetic to the police. Another one that's going to find all of these excuses and all these reasons why they can't charge and arrest and bring charges against these police officers when they killed unarmed black people unjustifiably in the streets. Just like all these black attorney generals we got. Keith Ellis down there in Minneapolis. We ain't heard nothing about what's going on with that Derek Chauvin case. Daniel Cameron over there in Louisville, Kentucky with Breonna. Nothing. So we got all of these black folks. We got these black folks as chief of polices and DAs and district attorneys and judges and attorney generals and all of that. And on all of their watches, nothing that mayors. All these black mayors of all these predominantly black cities. And black folks are still dealing with the same issues, the same circumstances, the same situations that we've always dealt with all of these so-called black people in so-called power, in all of these so-called positions of power. But they ain't got no power. They just puppets. You see, Lori Lightfoot was talking about, no, we're not going to have the feds in here. We're not going to have these federal agents coming in here in Chicago. And as soon as she got one telephone call from Trump, she folded like a lawn chair and let them in. These folks have no power. They have no positions of power. That's the reason why they keep on talking about the first black to do this and the first black woman to do that and the first black man to do that. The first black. Here we are in 2020. They still running around trying to get us with that first black thing. What good is it for you to be black and hold these positions when you're not going to do any, when you don't have the power, or you too scared to exercise what little power you do have to help your own community? To help your own people. What good does it do for you to hold these positions? Because that's all they are, positions. They don't have any power. White supremacy still holds the power. They just dare to take orders from white supremacy. All these black chief of polices we got. And black heads of this and heads of that. What good is that? When these slave catchers, these slave patrols still do the same thing they always have done in the black community. That's like they just keep on talking about we had a black president, the first black president, the first black president. Okay, and what good was he in that position, in that office, And he did absolutely nothing for the black community. What good was Obama in that office as the so-called first black president or whatever? What good was that when he did absolutely nothing for black folks? When he could have. He exercised no power for black folks. There were no executive orders for specifically for black folks. There was no legislation specifically for black folks. I mean, he signed executive orders for immigrants. He signed executive orders for LGBT. He signed executive orders for Blue Lives Matter, the police, and all that. But there was absolutely nothing for black folks. And all this talking about voting. I want you to look at all the stuff that has happened in the last, let's say, 5 years for illegal immigrants. All the tangibles, all the extra rights and extra protections that they have received in the last 5 years. And they don't even have the right to vote. They can't vote. But it ain't stopping none of these politicians. It ain't stopping none of these governors, none of these mayors. It ain't stopping none of these folks from giving them tangibles. And they can't vote. But if you're going to do any voting tomorrow, you need to get out and make sure that you go that if you're in that Georgia area and you can vote in Fulton County, you need to make sure that you are there to vote for Paul Howard. Because if this Fani Willis woman gets in there, like I said, it's going to be open season again on black folks in Fulton County, in Atlanta, Georgia. Because this chick is already in bed with the police unions. So I just wanted to bring y'all this information, get y'all up to date, bring y'all up to speed, let y'all know what was going on in this situation. And this is the kind of stuff that we need to be paying attention to in all of our various cities and states. These are the kind of local elections that we need to be paying attention to. And these folks running for DA and running for city council and all of this kind of stuff and running for attorney general and all that, we need to check their backgrounds. We need to check their records. And we need to see if they have had any kind of stand for the black community. If not, we don't vote for them. Period. Don't make no difference what party they come from or nothing else. If they don't have a record of standing with the black community and producing for the black community, then we don't vote for them. Period. And all I can say is, black women, FBA black women, you need to stop. You need to stop allowing white supremacy to use you like this. Because you're allowing white supremacy to use you against yourself. Because it's your black brothers. It's your black sons. It's your black fathers. It's your black nephews and uncles that are being slaughtered out there in the streets. So y'all need to stop. Now, them immigrant black women, that's another thing. I'm talking to foundational black American women now. Stop. Because when it's all said and done, white supremacy is not going to protect you. When it's all said and done, white supremacy going to look at you like any other nigga, like they look at all the rest of us. So you need to stop. Following these examples of the Oprahs and the Kamala Harrises and the Gales and all of that, following that, it ain't going to cut it. Because you have no real power. And what little power you may have, you're scared to use it. So you go along to get along. You go along because you're only interested in looking after yourself. But y'all need to make sure y'all get out and do everything that you can to make sure that this woman does not make it as Fulton County's next district attorney. Y'all get down to that description box, get this information, look at these campaign contributions, go on her website, and you'll see for yourself that she is being endorsed by police unions. So, you know, all we can do is put that information out there, but it's up to you people in Atlanta, it's up to you people in Georgia, in Fulton County, to see to it that this wannabe bed wench or wannabe mammy or whatever does not get in that spot. All right? All right. I'll be back with y'all as soon as I got something else to bring to you. Y'all have a good one. Bye-bye.